Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 215 for Tuesday, the 16th of July, 2024. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag, Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby360G, and joining me today is...
It's Graham, or GHAMOX14.
And Sensei Switch.
How are we all doing?
Very, very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. I've been able to actually get a little bit of more gaming in this week. Purely because so basically I've had a quite busy couple of weeks really, because work's been just mental and I've had to do some exams. So I've been studying like a biznitch, so not doing any gaming really at all. Then I passed my exam on Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
Which is really good. And then I actually went up to the office for the first time ever. I've only worked in there for about 18 months. Went to the office and met everyone for the first time Thursday, Friday for a party thing. And then obviously back Friday afternoon and a bit of gaming in this weekend, which has been quite nice.
Just out of curiosity, with your office job, did you go on cam and speak to people on things, or was it just you heard people's voices on the phone and that?
Well, what when I work from home, which is no, we just talk on Teams. Don't put webcams
no, so obviously something. Did you have that old classic oh, you look nothing like I thought? When you obviously met a lot of people.
Yeah. They were like, oh, you're a lot taller than we thought you were. And I'm only 6'1", 6'2". I'm not terribly tall at all. I mean, you put me next to bloody Sly Almond and I look like a midget, you know what I mean? But I was taller than most of the guys, which was quite interesting. But yeah, it was actually quite nice. Put up in a hotel for the night and, it was all right.
Yes, a boy.
It was a 3-hour drive each way though, which was a bit tiring, but yeah. But that's why I don't go in, you see, because I live so far. I'm on a work from home contract, you see, whereas all the guys that have been there for donkey's years, they all are on the older contracts. They all have to go in once a week.
Oh, that's not too bad, once a week.
So they were like, oh, you Jeremy bastard, you don't have to go in. I'm just like, well, no. It is what it is.
Once a week, man.
So they were saying to me, so are you going to come in again? I said, same time next year, guys. So, yeah. So apart from that, yeah. So, been doing a bit of gaming. Now I actually did do quite a bit of gaming on a game I'm going to talk about now. A couple of weeks ago, but I couldn't talk about it because it was under NDA, but it's now out in open beta. So I've actually played this game for 6 hours, and I just want to preface this by saying these are 6 hours of my life I would like back, because this game sucks balls.
So you love it?
No, I don't. So the game is called Concord. Now you might remember this being shown off at the PlayStation event. It is a 5v5 shooter. And unlike other 5v5 shooters like Rainbow Six Siege and Valorant and all these other games out there, this is a pay-to-play game.
Which is a massive thing against it, I think, because it's literally in a genre of that's crowded at the moment with more games coming. Yeah,
it's quite. But give it its due. I would, if the game was actually good, right? I wouldn't mind buying it, and then knowing that I wouldn't have to buy extra characters and stuff like that in the future, because the Rainbow Six model is I think it's free now or very cheap, but then they do the character passes every year, and
for the operators and stuff.
Yeah, you know, so if they push a game out and they said, oh, it's 50 quid, but you'll never have to buy a character or anything like that, I'd be like, actually, that's not bad. But I believe this is like 40 quid when it comes out ish. I don't think it's a full
35.
price.
It's
Yes,
35.
yes, it's
think,
not
something like that.
Yeah.
like 35 quid
Well-
really. And I know we moan about it because it's, you know, it's in a genre free to play, and I understand that, Darren, but it's really, you know, the price of a season in Call of Duty. You know? So on the grand scheme of things, that's not that bad. However, the game is bad. So it's really odd to explain. Now, the first thing I will say is there's a few things I need to go through really. But
At the scene.
people know my views on certain things, which I'll get into in a minute. However, that wouldn't make a game bad, in my opinion.
No,
You know,
not just that.
No, if the gameplay was good and it was fun and the characters,
You can forgive that.
you know, and the characters had some good, you know, moves and stuff, then you'd be like, you know, well, I don't like this other bollocks, but the game's fun, so at least I can be honest and say, you know, it's fun if it was. However, in my personal humble opinion, it's not fun, and that's because like it feels like it's tried to. It's well, a game I haven't mentioned. It feels very Overwatch, but but if Overwatch was made by Wish.com, yeah, like all the characters look very generic, and I played a lot of the characters, and I'm someone who played a lot of the original Overwatch with Colin and Peebs and a few others from the community. I've got hundreds of hours in Overwatch. I've played quite a lot of Valorant on PC as well, loads of Counter-Strike, hundreds of hours of Rainbow Six. So I played a lot of these 5v5 shooters, and it's, you know, and as we've said a minute ago, it's quite a saturated market at the minute. It's quite, I think it's one of those game genres that's quite hard to break into now. It's a bit like the Battle Royale scene, you know, when the Battle Royales were at their kind of hype and there was new Battle Royales coming out every other week, it felt like, and how many are left now? Like 2 or 3. So, you know, it's quite a crowded market. This is only coming to PlayStation and PC. I only played it on PC. As I say, I played a lot of the characters. You've got like the tanky type characters. You've got like there's like a character who's a bit like a cowboy. You've got characters like, to be fair, there's only one, in my opinion, there's like one decent character in there, and he's like an army bloke with a machine gun. And all the rest of them have got really weird weapons, which are just really hard to shoot, really hard to aim. And a lot of the characters as well don't have any secondary weapons either. So if you're playing as them, I feel like you're at a bit of a disadvantage to the ones that do have a secondary weapon, because obviously the reload's quite slow. So like in these sort of games, so usually a good way to kill someone is to quickly switch to your secondary just to pop off those final shots. And I was quite surprised at how many of the characters don't have secondary weapons.
It's probably a balance thing, I'd imagine.
Yeah, maybe, but it's kind of like, you know, you can tell which characters are tanky. You can tell which characters are kind of the healer ones and then you've got the damage dealer ones. Now, they're not broken into categories like in Overwatch. You know, when you do your character selection, it's like, these are your tanks, these are your offensive, and these are your healers. It's all just a jumble of characters in a selection screen, and it just tells you what their powers are just in the menu. So you kind of like, when you're new to the game, you really need to take your time and figure them out. Also on the character selection screen, which is fucking stupid in my opinion, I don't give a fuck who I upset by saying this, every character has their fucking pronouns next to their name. Now, it's a fucking video game.
What's wrong with that, eh?
It's a fucking video game, right? When I'm selecting a character, I don't give a shit. You know, why is this like information on the screen that's just not needed? not required, and just fucking pointless. Yeah, in my opinion, it's only there to appease a certain subsection of people, like the less than 1% of people in the world. Like, you know, and it's just fucking stupid in my opinion. It really is. And it's like, and this isn't the first game to do that. I remember with Overwatch, they tried to push out like backstories for the characters, all their different sexualities and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's a fucking video game. All I care about is the characters, what powers they've got.
Kind of gone downhill since then as well.
Yeah, and are they fun to play? That's all that matters. Yeah, and all this other stuff is just stupid and pointless in my opinion. So you've got the characters, you've got the they/them characters and that. Oh, for fuck's sake! Even the fucking robot has got pronouns, for fuck's sake. Yeah.
Oh, they did that. I think they did that in Borderlands 3, with the character that's kind of like a robot. I think they're apparently a they/them or something weird.
It's just silly. Now, during the beta, there was only a few maps available to play. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more when the game fully launches. They were okay, not great, quite small. And as I say, like, I know I sound like I'm nitpicking, but it's like every character, I just looked at all the characters that I had to choose from, and it was really weirdly done because you didn't, like, every match that started, you couldn't choose out of the whole roster. So every match there was like, you could only select out 8 out of the whole roster. So
you couldn't use all the characters.
No, so it was really, it's like they rotated the roster like every game they had. You could choose different ones, yeah. And it really frustrated me because I was like, I don't want to play that one. I don't want to play that one. I don't want to play that one. So I was in a lot of games where I just had to choose shit characters that I didn't want to be, you know, and they were just crap. Like, you got this fucking big fat black woman who's a they/them, running around with a fucking machine gun, just looks fucking stupid. And then you got like just these really just oddly, like, the characters, like, I don't know if it's me getting old, I don't know what it is, but they just look just silly. Like every character's the same stupid side shaved haircut, you know, especially if they're gay or whatever. And
nothing like stereotyping.
Yeah, and it's just, man, like, it feels like they've just put in generic shooter lesbian characters into like AI, into Bing AI or something, and these are all the characters that have come out, and it's just fucking odd. And like, it's really weird because like there's a subset of characters that look like they've been like ripped straight out of Guardians of the Galaxy as well, which is really weird. They're like the cheap tacky versions of Guardians of the Galaxy characters, and I was just like, what the fuck are they doing? This game is just, it just feels lazy in my opinion. It really does. It's like, it's nothing new in it at all. You know, there's nothing in it that Overwatch or any of these other 5v5 shooters have done before, and those other games do it better. You know?
I mean, you can say one thing about Overwatch: the characters are at least somewhat appealing.
Yes,
like they're pretty well designed, in my opinion. That was what drew me to the game originally.
Yeah,
and then obviously, unfortunately, all the other shit just pushed me away.
Yeah, the problem is, right, you know, and this is media in general, right? Like, we as a species, we gravitate towards attractive people, right? Be it in movies or whatever, or TV shows, right? And it just seems like this game has just gone for like, the character designs are just really ugly and just not appealing at all. And it's just boggles my mind. Like, it's just weird. Like, I think to myself, who is this game actually aimed for? Because personally,
I think a lot of people have said that. Yeah,
I don't think it's going to sell very well. I really don't. I think, I mean, I'll be very surprised if this game is at least not on PlayStation Plus within a year, if not dead, because it just doesn't appeal. There's plenty of other games out there that are doing the same thing but better. And it's a shame because the initial trailer that they showed at the PlayStation event was quite like, oh, this looks quite interesting. And then as soon as they mentioned 5v5 shooter, I was like, oh, there, you know.
So do you think this is actually going to be like everyone's memories of Concord?
What, shite?
Crashing like into the ground on fire.
It's going to crash. Yeah, it is, mate. It's just, and it's a shame, you know, because they could have made a good game, you know, but they've just, even if it was a 5v5 shooter with actual decent characters to play as, that would at least be something. Because the one good thing it has got going for it, though, to be fair, is the graphics are pretty decent, to be fair. But that is literally the only thing I can say that's positive about this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think everyone was just completely surprised that it wasn't a free-to-play.
Yeah.
Because you've obviously got a shitload of really well-known and well-done free-to-play games of that ilk.
Yeah.
You've got more on the horizon. You've got like a Marvel one coming out as well, which is going to be free-to-play. And I don't think this is going to compete, especially as well the fact that it's literally restricted to 2 platforms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, are you going to choose to play this over any of the other games that are in that same kind of sphere? And like you said, none of the characters are going to be like pulling anyone in to be like, oh, I want to see what that character plays like or whatnot.
Yeah.
For like the general gamer.
No. You know, and you know, because like there's such a big market out there now, and there's even, you know, as I say, like there's a lot of good free-to-play games out there, you know, just in general, you know.
It just feels that this is like almost like another Lawbreakers thing, but not quite as badly timed.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been itching to talk about this for at least a few weeks now, but obviously I've not been able to. But now it's an open beta. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. You know, give it a download on PlayStation or PC or Steam, the open beta at the minute. Give it a go for yourself and make your own mind up, you know. But I just think it's fucking terrible. And I'm not going to give it any more airtime. It's shit, and it's going to flippy flop. Next.
Is that over to me, is it?
It's over to you, Graham. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, I've played a few bits and pieces. I'll talk about, I've been playing quite a bit more Borderlands 3 this week. Managed to pop online and catch Peebs one evening. And we did one of the bosses together. That was quite good fun.
And what game was that, sorry? Borderlands?
Borderlands, yeah.
Yeah.
I hooked up with him. He sent me a message, popped online. We blasted through, did one of the bosses sort of online together for about 30 or 40 minutes or something.
Nice.
And then I had to hop offline because I had to go and pick up one of the kids who was stranded. But apart from that, yeah, I mean, again, it's the shooting just feels good in that game. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of
it's a good formula. It's just a shame about the coding.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue all day that the story is probably not quite as good, and those characters are a bit annoying. But what it does well, it sort of it works, you know.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I actually turned on my PlayStation 5 this week for the first time in about a month. And after the update that seemed to go on forever, I jumped on and downloaded Borderlands 3 and played with Peebs for about half an hour or so.
Yeah, he said actually.
I think that was Friday afternoon. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've not played Borderlands 3 before. I played obviously the first two. For some reason I've never picked up 3, as I mentioned. I think I mentioned that last week. And I quite enjoyed what I played, actually, even though I was vastly underleveled just on weapons and just on my character, because obviously I'd only just loaded the game and then jumped into Peebs's. It was just even like because usually these sort of games I like to play on PC because the mouse and keyboard just normally feels really good. But I will give it its due on the PS5. It's really feels really good on the DualShock controller. The haptic feedback on it is really good. I will say, with the
it is a good version.
The force of the triggers when you pull in the weapon, when you're shooting the weapons and stuff. Graphically, it looks really nice. I'm pretty sure you mentioned it had a PS5 upgrade.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's a PS Plus. I did notice on Xbox it's £9. If you don't have a PlayStation, it's £9 on Xbox, and I think it's a similar price.
It was on
as well.
I believe it might have been on Game Pass at one point, although I think it's now off Game Pass.
Oh, right. I mean, I don't know. I've no idea.
I can't remember. It's been such a long time since I looked. Although I've got a disc, because I found a disc for like £5 or £6 anyway, so just been playing it that way previously,
Nice.
But it does what it does well, and it's got that hook, keeps you wanting to play it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good fun. It's got a really good shooting mechanic, as you say, and so that the art style it doesn't seem to age, does it? Because it's that kind of cell shaded.
The DLC's fairly decent as well.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah.
I did notice though it's quite egregious with the DLC advertising. So you're walking around this area, and people took me to this area, and he was like, "Oh, you see all these posters with the exclamation marks?" I said, "Yeah." He said,
on your ship.
They're all DLC. Yeah.
He said, "Oh, that's all the paid DLC." And I said, "Oh, that kind of reminds me of Dragon Age, where you speak to that NPC, and he's like, "Oh, to do my mission, you got to pay $9.99 for the DLC." So I thought that was a bit naughty, but that's probably why they're putting it on PS Plus or selling it cheap, is because they want people to get sucked in and
buy the deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, you've got the film coming out as well, so it helps push a bit of promotion for that.
I have not heard good things about the movie.
No,
there seems to be this annoying trend of like, let's make films out of games now because we've run out of actually just remaking films in general.
Well, I'll tell you what, I did watch that new that Beverly Hills Cop, the new one, Axel F.
I liked it.
That was really good, wasn't it? I really enjoyed that. It just was kind of like an old school, I mean, you knew what was going to happen, really, but it was just kind of like, it felt fun, like an old 80s, 90s classic, To listen to the rest of this week's awesome episode, which is just under 2 hours long, you need to subscribe to the Patreon. So head on over to patreon.com/360gamercast. From there, you can sign up from as little as £5 a month. You get the rest of this week's episode, which includes a lengthy debate about the recent news of Game Pass getting a price increase and another tier added. OMG, that sucks balls. You also get access to our whole back catalogue and special episodes, so why not join today? That website address again is patreon.com/360gamercast. Sign up now.